That is my sole responsibility in this moment, is to protect the people of this city. And here's the thing. We're asking corporations, 3% of them, to help us balance the budget with essentially an amount of dollars that account for about 1.6% of our overall budget.
They want higher taxes, but can't provide safety. They want more money, but can't protect our children on the way to school. They demand billions, but can't secure a single train car.
Chicago Mayor Brandon Johnson continues to push for tax increases as the city is looking to finalize a budget before the end of this month. But what's exactly going to happen, especially as more criticism of Chicago priorities are laid out? It is Illinois in Focus Daily. I'm Greg Bishop. Wake up with us each and every weekday morning here for the latest and how you are impacted. Yes, you're probably listening in downstate Illinois, not in Chicago. But Chicago is a major economic hub. It's also a major user of state tax dollars. And you've got policies that the State House continues to pass, including the sweeping of interest on the road fund that's going to go to the Chicagoland area for mass transit. That was approved in October. The governor has yet to sign that, but obviously that's coming down the pike. But you've got other issues concerning public safety as well, but it's going to happen with the budget. Go to Illinois, the page for the Center Square. I'm Greg Bishop, editor of Illinois for the Center Square. You can get this podcast anywhere you get podcasts. Search for Illinois in Focus and you'll be able to find it. All right, let's get into this. Chicago Mayor Brandon Johnson yesterday holding a pretty sweeping news conference, and he talked about Chicago's overall budget and how he's still looking for revenue.
Well, look, they're going to have to find 34 alders who can compel working people that they're going to balance the budget off of their backs. They're going to have to go do that work. And what I'm going to do, I'm going to use the tools that are available to me to protect the working people of Chicago. That is my sole responsibility in this moment, is to protect the people of this city. And here's the thing. We're asking corporations, 3% of them, to help us balance the budget with essentially an amount of dollars that account for about 1.6% of our overall budget.
So there's a lot of questions as to what exactly are going to be the tax increases imposed on Chicago residents, right? I mean, he's talked about a head tax that would charge a tax for every employee of a business that has more than a certain number of employees every month. And if you've got 100 employees, it could cost you $21,000 a year. Or something to that effect. A lot of pushback on that. Even Governor J.B. Pritzker saying, no, that's not a good idea. There's other questions about, is the mayor going to propose a property tax increase? Is the mayor going to agree to an increase in garbage collection fees? Is the mayor going to agree to an increase in taxes for sports betting? And what about the prospect of Chicago allowing for video gaming, like, you know, the slot machines, the video slot machines that the rest of Illinois has, but Chicago doesn't? So is that going to possibly be worked in before the end of the month? Who knows? But Mayor Johnson, he says that he has not yet seen proposed cuts from aldermen, saying that the city needs to find efficiencies.
Well, we have not received a formal proposal from anyone at this point. We've started this process well back in April. And I guess some people are just used to cramming. Our team, we work nonstop, constantly. We consider ourselves responsible stewards of the people of this city. And so, you know, this sort of rush cram work is something that, you know, quite frankly is, you know, I believe the residents of the city of Chicago deserve more than that.
And the mayor saying that he is fighting, quote, for the working people and wants higher taxes on higher earners, and says he's even willing to starve himself.
I have put more skin in the game in the fight for public accommodations than any other elected official in the history of this city. Name one outside of me that have starved myself, that have taken arrests, that have gone on strikes, that have led organizing campaigns across the city and across this country to ensure that our public accommodations are actually fully supported.
So what's that mean? We're going to see a hunger strike from the mayor if he is pushing for more taxes, and especially going to Springfield and talking about a surcharge on millionaires or a progressive income tax or something to that effect. He says that is very much in the cards.
We will lead the charge. If Springfield is not willing to do it for whatever reason, and they have the reasons, then we'll go first. We've even gone as far as to say, if you don't want to do it, give us the authority to do it. But if you look at, since we've been talking about not only challenging these large corporations, but the ultra-rich to pay their fair share in taxes, the Speaker of the House recently, he also said he supports a millionaire's tax. He said it. So clearly I'm not by myself.
And is that going to be a conversation had at the State House about going after higher earners to make them pay more of a percentage of their wealth? You've got the opposition in Chicago, coming from Chicago Flips Red. Social commentator James McCoy speaking Monday and criticizing Chicago priorities.
The mayor claims that he wants to make Chicago the most affordable, safe city in America. I don't know anybody who feels like Chicago is affordable. Chicago, year after year after year, is getting less affordable, especially for homeowners. In a few years, if we allow this crisis to persist, there will be no homeowners, all right? Nobody will own anything in Chicago. Chicago is not being more safe. Chicago is just, the crime is not being reported. That's just what we know. And we know this because we can go outside and see it with our own eyes.
So McCoy talking about how Chicago is not affordable and Chicago is not safe. And you've got some examples of that, especially being social media gatherings that are unsanctioned, leading to shootings happening outside of holiday festivals in downtown Chicago. Not on the west side or the south side, but downtown Chicago. And Mayor Johnson saying that, you know, it's a focus that needs to be put on the parents of these young people.
And here's what I've called for, and we will continue to call for. We need adults and parents to absolutely know where their children are and where they're going. These unsanctioned gatherings have proven to be detrimental and harmful. And that's why we had not only additional police officers out there, we had CVI workers. It's why I'm working within my budget to make sure that we are redirecting young people towards positive interactions, whether it's with BAM or WOW or many other community-based organizations who are working hard to provide alternative outlets for young people. You know, so I'm willing to work with anyone who understands the respective assignment. And the assignment, of course, is we gotta hold people accountable. Adults, parents have to know where their children are.
The mayor also asked yesterday about public safety, and in particular, that story of the individual charged with setting somebody on fire on a CTU train, having dozens of prior arrests where he was released, and even the electronic monitoring program in the city and the county raising some serious red flags. And it's all part of the Safety Act. It's all part of no cash bail. Somebody charged with a crime, if it's not in that net of detainable offenses, they can be let go, put on ankle monitoring pending trial. But is there really much follow-up when that ankle monitor goes off the geo-tracked area that it's allowed to be at? There's been indication, and even the Cook County Sheriff has been really vocal about opposing the ongoing electronic monitoring program, and Cook County prosecutors also evaluating it. But Chicago Mayor Brandon Johnson asked about it and seems to indicate that there's more work to be done, he says.
You know, I mean, I think that's something that is going to require all of us to continue to debate and, you know, put on our thinking caps around how do we make sure that tragedies like this don't happen again. You know, so, I still hold to my firm position that this was a severe breakdown. And it's incumbent upon all of us, the state, the county, the city, municipalities around the state, to come together to figure out how we can make sure something like this doesn't happen again.
You know, that incident obviously horrific, and the mayor, when asked about it last week, said that it was an isolated incident. But critics say that was a cold response. Independent reporter William Kelly at the news conference yesterday asking for the mayor to respond to critics.
What do you say to those people, Mr. Mayor?
Well, first of all, what I've said from the very beginning is that this was a tragedy. And this woman is fighting for her life. And as I've said repeatedly from a question that was raised earlier, that this, that individuals that clearly have a violent past, as well as mental health issues, should not be on the streets of Chicago. And that was a failure and a breakdown in our system. And it's incumbent upon all of us to continue to support this family and continue to pray for her. And that's what I'm going to continue to do. And again, as tragic as this is, it is a reminder of how much work we still have to do.
Then the Q&A kind of devolved from there to talk about ratings and how many people reporters actually talk to, and the criticism back and forth. Johnson even criticizing that reporter, saying he has small equipment and that his questions come off as racists, and then they moved on to another reporter. But earlier this week, Chicago Flips Red Vice President Danielle Carter Walters sharing that the Johnson administration is failing.
Just last week, a woman was set on fire on the public transit. Brandon Johnson refuses to acknowledge the real cause or hold the right people accountable. They want higher taxes, but can't provide safety. They want more money, but can't protect our children on the way to school. They demand billions, but can't secure a single train car. And they spend our tax dollars to fight President Trump in court to stop him from sending the National Guard to handle what they can.
What will the city of Chicago do with the budget coming due January 1st? Are they going to increase taxes? Are they going to change their priorities? How is this going to play out? Of course, we'll keep an eye on that, and that's why we focus here with Illinois in Focus each and every weekday morning. Go to the website, thecentersquare.com, get headlines, and you can do that by signing up for the newsletter, and you'll be emailed daily what we've got to tell you about. So it's Illinois in Focus daily, each and every weekday morning here with the Center Square.